on this is the lady. Okay, so back to our presentation. Sorry all who's watching this while it's we're kind of jumping in the middle of the presentation here because I forgot to press record. So we offer all of the tools the teachers need to teach online. We're bringing simplicity and engagement back to music lessons. You're probably wondering why I have all these cameras and microphones and headphones crossed out. You can use those, that's perfectly fine, but you don't need to, because we all know that our students have the most basic equipment on their side. So we don't want to have to force them to use you know, expensive microphones and headphones all the time. You don't need to use those things, but you certainly can if you have them. And I'm just gonna admit somebody in here. For some reason, my mouse doesn't work when I'm in full mode here. Okay, sorry, this is kind of a disaster of a presentation, isn't it? There we go. We'll get back into it. And Mike's laughing his heads off there. So,
you know what? We've all been through it in the last two years, right? It happens.
So Musicology has all of the tools needed to engage kids 12 and under. That's my son actually in this little picture here. He's 7. And I watched him struggle through online school and also online music lessons using traditional platforms and just staring at the screen. And they're not, you know, they're built for business meetings, right? So I saw that there was a need for kids to really interact through the screen. So it creates that engagement that we all love having in person. And as you can see by his reaction here, that it's very well loved by the younger community. There's tons of silly emojis for the kids. It is also certainly useful. You don't have to use the emojis, although we have had feedback that adults do like an emoji every once in a while. It's certainly useful for older learners. The high quality full duplex audio and video is fantastic. You have a whiteboard for theory practice. So it's a little bit different than what you're used to using on Zoom, where teachers have gotten used to screen sharing and then annotating. We have a whiteboard that acts as a projector. So each student room, they have their own private room and you can upload files into those rooms. Your students can also upload files and then they're there all the time for easy access. So you just need to click on an icon and it brings the file up for you. And I'll demonstrate that in a minute. But it's great because there's no extra settings involved. So your student can go and write on their theory sheets or their music at the same time as you. We have a keyboard that's MIDI compatible as well to show examples. That's for the web app. The iOS app is not MIDI compatible, but it still has the keyboard that you can play together. And then we have the basic features like screen share for YouTube clips and research. You can share your audio. You can share your iPad. So our top features are definitely the whiteboard, the file upload, grant staff, the virtual piano, and screen share. And here's just a little video here demonstrating the interaction between the teacher and student. So here's our playable keyboard. This is on an iPad, but we have this on the web app as well. So the keys highlight on both sides of the screen. It's fantastic for the kids. You don't have to show them where middle C is again. Here's our whiteboard. So you want to think of it, like I said before, as a projector where you're drawing on top of it. And then when you place a file on it, it's like the projector file is being placed. But there's tons of things you can do. It's pretty easy to use. This is a stamp of our grand staff that you can, it's accessible and you can just stamp it onto the screen and then draw on top of it. So this is on the iPad app here. This is our web browser because we don't have screen share on the iPad, but we do on the web app. So this is our little workaround. Apple has a lot of rules. So we've taken a screenshot here in the browser, and then we brought it to the whiteboard, and we're able to draw on it if you're ever in a pinch for some material in the lesson. Here's our file upload. So I've gone into my camera roll, selected the photo I took a picture of. Here's our great My Music staff counting beats. You can find all of these on Pinterest. These are all free as well for members. And then our grand staff. So we have notes that are movable on both sides of the screen. The teacher can move them, the student can move them. They're great for demonstrating musical examples. And all of our numbers there are in solfege colors as well for those that use it. So super interactive. Students love it, really. And of course, security. This was an important feature for me. This is why we aren't free, because free platforms have, they actually often take your data and sell it to advertisers. They have to make money somehow because software development is not cheap. So for us, we are COPPA compliant. We do not take any login information from your students. Everything is teacher directed. The teachers have the accounts, and then it's free for students. They just send a code to their student to use. It's GDPR compliant, so you don't even have to enter any of your information yourself. We use third party for all of that. And I'm going to screen share the app now. New share. Okay. Okay, so first what I'm going to show you here, this is the teacher portal. So it's really easy. This is actually where you sign up and where you manage all of your teacher profiles, or your student profiles, sorry. So what I'm doing here is I'm clicking on rooms at the top, and you see this list here. This is where you build your student rooms. So I'm going to build a room here for Mike. So my student's name is Mike, and his room name is going to be Mike's Music Room. And you don't have to enter anything really in these two. This is just more for your own organizational purpose. And then his room code is going to be Mike, let's do Mike 02. And I'm going to add him down here. I didn't get an error message, so that tells me that that code's not taken. So there's his music room there. Now, if I want to click on Mike's music room, I can upload any files here and they'll be connected right to his music room. I can upload directly from my computer, or I can just drag and drop the file here. So sometimes I like to take pictures with my phone of my students' music. And then what I do is I just go down to my messages here and I drag them over. So that's how, excuse me, that's how you would do them if you're all on Apple. I love Apple devices. That's just me. But certainly if you're on a Windows device, you can just email yourself and then drag the file over too. So that's how we use that. This is the web app. So it's app.musicology.ca. And if you ever forget that, what you can do is just go to your home here and you can launch it here. You can also you can manage your account here as well. So that's pretty easy to do. So if you need to cancel, if it's just not working for you, then you can do that anytime. You don't have to feel locked in. So I'm logging in here now. And what I'm going to do is connect to a student room. So now you get two pictures of me here. Do you guys like my background, by the way? It looks pretty cool, eh? It's actually a vinyl sheet. I'm getting seasonal ones. I'm getting a winter one that's coming with a beautiful Christmas background. Anyways, so over here is your sign out button. These are your student rooms. So I'm going to connect it to my demo room now. And the reason I'm doing that is because if you look down here at this whiteboard, if I end the call, the whiteboard button turns off, and that's because they are connected to each student's room. So I'm connecting to my demo room now, and now the whiteboard's activated. Up here on the right-hand side, once the room is connected, you'll see a lock sign, and then you'll be able to lock your student out from pressing any buttons if they're getting too button happy. This little question mark here will take you to different pages like our FAQs, how to build student rooms, what devices, and then our YouTube channel and our Facebook group here as well. The gear icon is where all of your, oh, now there's 3 of me here. It's where we have our audio input, our audio output source. So everything that your OS will accept and Musicology will accept. And if you need to select a different camera, you can just do that here, or you can look for new devices. Then we have our ever popular emojis. We do have some Christmas ones coming, so I'm really excited about those. Winter themed as well. Then you have your usual mute microphone, disable camera. This is where all of your camera functions are, and hover over everything, then it will label them for you. So these are our toggle video options. This is the pop-out remote user video. This is for screen share. So if you're screen sharing down here, the globe icon, you want to see your student's video float around the screen with you, you press this button. This button here will hide your local video. This one is our rotate camera button. So now I have switched over to my overhead camera. And then I'm back to my, you can see the difference in this one. This is my FaceTime camera. And then I'm switching to my webcam now. This one will enlarge your video when you're connected to a student so that you appear larger on the screen and your student's video is smaller. You can also move your video around. You can flip the orientation. And then if you want to snap it back into place, you just press that button. And then this, of course, is our full screen. So now over here is our whiteboard. So I can draw anything I want here. I can change my colors as well. I'm going to try and pick my music staff color. Let's see. There we are. Hi, MMS. And if you don't like drawing with a mouse, a really great tool to use is one of these graphics tablets. You don't have to get anything expensive, but these are fantastic because they have a pen and then you can just put it in your lap and draw all over the whiteboard with it. So I don't have mine hooked up right now. I can't show that. I ran out of USB ports and I had to order an extender. So you can do lots of things here. Your slider, you can make your width bigger or smaller. This is great for playing games. There's a selector tool, so you can select the image. This is really great for board games as well on the screen and then drop them. You have your usual square one for selecting, oh, my thing's too large there. There we go. Now you can select a passage of music, a circle. So all of your basic functions, and then of course, your eraser button. Now, if I wanted to just erase everything on the screen, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to press the trash can and that'll clear the screen again. I also have this little lock button here. So whoever's connected to my room, I can lock them out if they're getting too doodle happy. These are where all of your students' files are loaded. So I'm going to click on these and I'm going to bring up clocks because I already had that loaded there. So I love Piano Adventures. And I'm just kind of stretching it out in that little triangle in the bottom right-hand corner. And then I'm clicking add to background. And now it's here to use. So I can enlarge my cursor and then I can see it bouncing around better. I can circle notes for my students and my students can do the same as well. If I want to get rid of this toolbar, I can just minimize it like that. And you see we have a pretty easy duet here. So it is actually possible to play basic duets with your students on Musicology, depending on your internet connection and as well as your device. So if you or your student have an 8-year-old device that has never ever been turned off or updated, you will probably not be able to play duets. So it is important to maintain your devices and to help your students maintain their devices. I recommend that you take a look at our Facebook page every once in a while, because I put up tech tips there every so often. We've got a bunch coming in December, actually, really basic ones, resetting your router. This will just help with your online experience. So now I want to get rid of these annotations here. So I'm going to press the clipboard button, and it's going to delete the annotations, but it's going to keep the piece of music on here. So if you have a student that likes to get on there and scribble like I do, you can say, no, no, I'm clearing that, and then I'm locking you out. No scribbling on the music. So now I want to get rid of this piece. So I'm just going to trash it. And I'm going to put my grand staff image up. It's the same thing. You're just dragging it. And if your student's on a small device, you're going to see an outline there of whatever size their screen is, so you know to fit it into the right size. If your student's on a phone, then it is possible that you might have a little window that's like this, and then you're going to have to squeeze the image into there. So that's the whiteboard. If you want to drag an image onto here too, all you have to do is just, my window's kind of clogged here, but just move your window over and then go to your files. So I actually have a lot of screenshots here, and you can open them up and then drag them over, and then they'll pop up on the screen. So here we have another one of the great My Music staff images. They're all found on Pinterest. And I think, Mike, can you access them on the website as well?
We are building a website of entirely free resources. For now, they're on Pinterest because they're really accessible, but we're probably in the next 6 weeks just going to have a free website of recital packs, theory sheets, all the tools you would need. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I love these. These are really great in the pinch. So they're super to just download and then put them into a little file on your desktop. And then if you're ever running out of material in the class, you've got these fun sheets to work on. My students love doing theory on the whiteboard. They're addicted to it. So that's the whiteboard. The next icon here is the grand staff. So this is so much fun to use. I use this with my students all the time. You can change the colors to rainbow keys. You can change the flats and the sharps. You can take the letters off, because I know that there are many teachers that do not like those letters. Big controversy on some Facebook groups about those. So you can remove them. You can change the color of the keys as well. I got to turn my rainbow keys off. There we go. Now they're blue. Over here is the color pop palette. So we can move this around so it's out of the way. You click on an icon and then you will see a menu of notes, and you can drag them around. So I like to sometimes just line them up here and have the students build a scale with my my suggestions that I've laid out. You have ledger lines as well here, bar lines. This is always something that's asked in support, is where are our bar lines and ledger lines? They're in the green forte symbol. You have your time signatures, your sharps. So everything, most things that you need are listed in here. Now, sometimes you may not want to hear the on-screen keyboard. It might be too loud. Maybe it's echoing through your microphone or your students. So you can just go up here and press the mute button, or you can use this volume control here to adjust that. So you see now it's really loud, or I can have it quiet, or you can just turn it off altogether and use your piano sound. A lot of voice teachers I've heard like to turn their piano keyboard off and keep the on-screen keyboard on, because it connects with their students just a little bit better. And then of course we have our great emojis. I love the rainbow one, that's my favorite. Over here's our metronome. So our metronome's pretty cool because just turning it off now so you can hear the sound. We have a cat and a dog. Those were requests from our UK users who use an app called Metronome, if you haven't heard of those before, where it makes all sorts of different pet sounds. The metronome's really neat too, because the audio is pushed from the student side to the teacher side. So you are going to hear exactly what they're clapping with. It's not going to have any latency between the clap and the metronome click. And then this is our screen share here. I don't think that you can see what I'm doing when I'm trying to screen share. So I'm just gonna not demonstrate that, but basically it's a Google Chrome screen share. So you would click on it and then this square pops up here. I don't know why we can't see it on Zoom when I screen share, but it's some kind of thing. A square will pop up and then you'll be able to share your entire screen or a window or a Chrome tab. The Chrome tab is where you can share your audio. Now, if you want to share your iPad, it's really easy to do. If you're on an Apple computer, you go into your Launchpad and then you're going to open up QuickTime. And can you guys see QuickTime opening here, or do you still see my screen? Do you see, Mike, do you see my QuickTime?
No, just the browser.
Oh, okay, because I just shared a window. Let me share my entire screen here so you can see.
Gotcha, there we go.
Okay, you should be able to see it now. Okay, so I've opened up QuickTime and then I click on new screen recording, and what will happen is, or sorry, new movie recording actually. And then I can select my iPad down here and my iPad's there to screen share. So it's pretty easy. If you're on a Windows device, you can use the free app called Lonely Screen, and it's the same thing. It just casts it by AirPlay. So we've got all the features that you need there. And then we have our guitar features too. If you are a guitar teacher or a ukulele teacher, you can switch to ukulele too. And that is Musicology. I'm just gonna take a quick look here and gonna stop my share and come back and take a look in the chat here just to see if there's any questions there before I close off Musicology completely. Oh yeah, I hear a little bit of an echo too. Yeah, if we could all mute, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so Cindy says, how is Musicology different from Rock Out Loud? There's actually a really great podcast that, I don't know if you guys follow, what is her name? Jamie Slutsky. And she has a podcast that's coming out in a series with all the different music platforms out there. And I suggest that you listen to those. But I'd say that we are very different than Rock Out Loud in that we use a completely different call provider. Our audio is completely unique. You don't need headphones for it. And all of our features are interactive. So, and it's all piano pedagogy based. I believe that Rock Out Loud is just on one side of the screen, and it's basic functions sort of like Zoom. So we have a little bit more in depth. We're definitely more kid friendly and a little bit more of a robust platform. But certainly try them both. I mean, we have a free 14-day trial as well. You're welcome. And I'm going to be giving out a code to everybody, our new users at the end. So with that, I'm so excited to hear what Mike has to say, because I am a My Music staff user. I've been using it for a couple of years now. It was a bit scared, Mike, to transfer over, you know, thinking like, oh my God, putting in all the information. Like I own a music school too with 10 teachers. And I was just like, sort of like my mind was boggled, you know, like I was doing email money transfers with all of my clients, and it was taking up a lot of my time, chasing people down for payments, and then scheduling with the teachers on Google Calendar, but they weren't always scheduling things or checking it, and it was just a bit of a nightmare. So finally, we got onto my music staff, and bit of a learning curve, but it wasn't too bad. You guys were so supportive. I actually ended up not even touching it for 30 days. And I contacted you and was like, can I have 30 more, please? Because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And you guys are always there. Like, your support is awesome. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been an exciting journey for us there. We're not much of we're not music teachers ourselves, but we complements well with a program like Musicology, where we'll help with all the payments and stuff. Well, Rebecca will help with the teaching.
Oh yeah, they certainly complement each other so well, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we're neighbors.
Yeah, literally just down the street. I basically pass your school on my way home from work.
So funny. So Mike is, I think you previously worked in customer support.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to start at a company. And then he went on into the marketing team for my music staff.
Yeah, I've been around for 3 years. The company, my music staff itself just turned 8, but I've been here for 3 of those years, kind of 2 in support and almost 1 in the marketing team now. So if you do call, I'm not the guy that answers the phone anymore, but we have a nice team just outside of this room who are always happy to help if you call or send an email.
That's fantastic. You guys are so helpful. So can you tell us a little bit about how my music staff was born? Like, who created it?
Yeah. So the owner is actually a developer, and his wife is a vocal coach. And it kind of grew out of the need for, like, yes, you do teach the lesson, you get paid for the lesson, but there's so much you have to do outside of that to stay organized, payment collection, rescheduling, just staying organized and looking professional as a business takes up a lot of time that you're not really directly billing anyone for. So he built my music staff as a solution to kind of get his wife back from it. And it's kind of grown from there over the last eight years. It's September 2013-ish is when it launched.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you guys were really ahead of the times, I think.
Yeah, it was really exciting. Like, when I came on board, it's kind of nice too. We haven't changed our price in those eight years. So just to see all the features grow from being for just a single teacher to being for, like, yourself, like 10 or more teachers, to watch all the growth has been really exciting, adding all these new features over the years.
Yeah, for sure. I love you said a slogan before, my music staff is business in a box.
Yeah, like, we know that our users are, like, great musicians or great with tech, great with business. Usually maybe you're not business for, like, first, right? Like, you love music, and then all the business stuff might come second with some people. So we wanted to make sure that we could provide all those features that helps you look professional and automate as, like, a single teacher or as a multi-teacher school. So, like, you get a free website, a web domain, automatic invoicing, a student portal, all those things to present you more professionally without having to jump around to, like, a Google Calendar, a Google Classroom, a notebook, all those other things. Sorry, my phone just heard me say Google a few times. I gotta put that farther away.
It's like when you have Alexa. I don't know, I said
yeah. No, she's listening too. There we go. Put that in the couch there. Yeah, I've got a bit of a presentation. I know we have some user overlap. I've got a PowerPoint I could quickly go through that kind of highlights all of our key features if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
Will it let me?
Oh yeah, draft it. Yeah.
I got it. There we go. So like I mentioned there, it is your student scheduling and billing all in one place. We're not in the App Store currently, but we are a web-based application, which means any device with an internet connection and a web browser. You have your business at your fingertips, whether it's your phone, your tablet. If you're at home on your desktop, it's all there. And we're just trying to streamline your student scheduling and billing. From the student perspective, we've got automated email and text reminders. I'll go over how to include the musicology room in those too at the end, so that maybe 24 hours before a lesson, we send them an email reminding them of what's gonna, like when the lesson is, where it's happening, and then how to access the room or like the physical address if it's in a studio. I'll go over that a bit better later. We've also got a student portal where your families can log in and they can see their schedule, make any payments, see their lesson notes, any files you want to share. It's all in one spot. That way they can engage with you outside of class time without having to send you like a text over dinner that they can't make it. Like you can just ask them to log in, find an opening, cancel, that kind of thing. The calendar offers you some quick and easy scheduling. You literally just go to the calendar menu, click on the day, and kind of follow the steps there. Who's coming, when, what for. We also offer you different categories. So like if you teach piano and voice and maybe theory, you could say what do we have in this calendar? Like a regular lesson's just in blue, but if it's theory, it's in this kind of purpley color. Maybe you want your theory classes in yellow, and that way you can see it easily. And you can run reports to see like how many theory lessons did you teach versus group theory, and kind of dissect your calendar that way. All of our billing really comes back to keeping an accurate calendar. Each student has a unique price with you, and then as you put them in the calendar, we can build out all the billing. So taking attendance is crucial to keeping the billing accurate. If the student's present, we know that they should be charged for it, but if they're absent, you can choose if the fee associated with that lesson should stay in their account. Maybe it's like a last second, like something dire, you don't want to charge them for it. Just take the right attendance option and their fees will update correctly. But while doing attendance, you can assign them files. You can like mark if it's billable, take your lesson notes, and everything from the same screen. We do integrate with Zoom, FaceTime, and Skype right now, but if you use another program like Musicology, it's very simple to make them work also. We can embed the links in those reminders, show up in the student portal, all that kind of thing. Honestly, we just picked these 3 platforms back in March of 2020 out of necessity with the world kind of shutting down. So between the 3, we got most of the world covered. But a lot of people use like Google Classrooms with us too, Musicology, a couple other platforms out there too. I think Bramble is an option. There's definitely ways to make them all work. These are just the 3 that we like formally mention. For invoicing, we provide you with a professional invoice template. It auto-populates all the info from your account. You can add your logo and everything. We do integrate with PayPal and Stripe for online payments. So those would give this click here to pay online button on your invoice. If you're in the United States, Stripe offers bank transfer as well, but the rest of the world, just credit cards for now. You can also store customer credit cards on file. And then that way, when you email the invoice, it just takes the payment automatically and sends them a receipt. And with that, we are compliant with all the top standards in credit card security. Everything's encrypted, sent to Stripe or PayPal. It's not actually really stored within our platform. So it is PCI compliant. And kind of on that note too, we are also GDPR compliant. We don't sell your information for anything. It's not used for any marketing purposes. We're a tool in your toolbox. So it's your information in your account. We don't do anything with it. And then, yeah, every account comes with a free web domain and hosting. If you don't have a site, it's easy to set one up. It's a lot like using Microsoft Word or Pages if you're on a Mac. It's a lot of choosing a template and then like insert an image, pick a font, and kind of go from there. And if you need help with any of that, our team is always happy to help by phone or email. If you have a site built somewhere else, we do have these 2 widgets we can give you. Actually, I should just pull it up. Here's a sample site built on our platform, just using a template and adding your own images and everything. If your site is built somewhere else, we can still give you this student portal login widget here. so your families can go to your site to log in. And we can also provide this registration form. It might take a second, but you customize all the questions, and when someone fills it out, they're added in as a student automatically. And I think I'm almost done. The student portal, I kind of talked about it earlier, but they can log in, they see their schedule, their notes, their finances. If they're an adult, if they're a child, they don't see that, of course. You can upload and share files, videos, files, and audio with them with unlimited storage. If you wanted to build up like a virtual library. We also have the practice log where your students can record how their practice is going outside of classes so that you have the notes for the next lesson, and they can also send you back a video or a file, whether that's them stuck on a piece and they want to show you, where they're stuck, or completed theory homework, whatever you want to do. That's all an option. Since the program is already calculating all your revenue, if you want, you can also use us as an expense tracker. What's really fun with this is you can upload your expenses with an image of the receipt. And then that way at tax season, when you run your revenue and expense report, you have a zip folder of all your expenses ready to go. So definitely still cram them in that shoebox just in case you need a physical copy, but you could have a virtual copy as well. I actually use this feature when we go to trade shows. If I spend on the company card, I grab my phone and I just take a photo of the receipt and upload it here. So that when we fly home, if I lose it, it's not the end of the world. I still have a photo, and I can give our bookkeeper an itemized list of what I spent, which is really helpful. But yeah, there's a bunch more to it. It can be really overwhelming at first, but all you really need to do is get your students in, tell us what they pay, and schedule them. And then the automation really takes over. And there's a bunch of other fun features along the way. I know we have some overlap, so I'm not going to do too much in-app or anything, but I can stop sharing and we can go back to chatting for now.
I love that when you were talking about the expense report. So I have a bookkeeping team, and it's so easy to use. Like I just have to download this expense just send it to him every month, and it's fantastic. It's so
it's like 6 mouse clicks maybe, and it's all set up. I mean, keeping track of expenses isn't fun in general, but if you use it, it's really it can be simplified.
And just getting into the habit of it, like every time I go and get gas in my car, like taking a picture of the receipt and then uploading it. And it just takes a couple seconds, but you just have to stay on top of it. And it really makes a difference at tax time.
For sure. And like, even just for my real world use, we went to like the Flute Association in Salt Lake, and I thought, like, why am I trying to keep track of all these little papers? And then like, it's inevitable I'm going to lose one. So why don't I just take a photo as I get them? And it takes a lot of stress out trying to find it later.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know. I remember like crossing over the border and having this like big envelope just stuffed with
We'll get back to traveling soon, I'm sure.
Yes. So what would you say are the top 3 questions that you get asked in support?
One of them is definitely, do you have a mobile app? It comes up a lot. We don't yet. The option was really build an app, improve the mechanics of the program, and then build a new app, or just cut out that first part. We're doing a lot of changes behind the scenes right now that are not exciting to share, but the program is getting set up for kind of version 2.0. I shared a bit about it with Rebecca privately because we're not really ready to show anything yet, but it'll have a more modern look and feel soon. It'll run a lot quicker. So we're really excited about that. I don't really know when that'll come out, but there's a lot of exciting things behind the scenes that have to happen before a mobile app. So mobile app will come next year. I'm not sure when.
Yeah, and you can use it. I mean, like I just save it on my home screen.
Yeah.
Click on it, and it works pretty much the same way.
Exactly. It'll still fit to whatever screen you're on, whether it's a phone, a tablet, whatever you have. So it's not a huge deal, but it definitely comes up a lot, and I totally get it. Like you have a mobile app, we don't have a mobile app, but we'll catch up. when people are brand new, that calendar-based billing part gets missed a lot. So because you tell like each student, I might as well just pull up the program and show it. I don't know why I'm doing it any other way. Give me 1 second, I'll share my screen again.
We are definitely visual learners, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay, share screen 2. So what comes up a lot when you're in the program, when you're adding a student, all you have to put in is their first and last name. But there's a whole bunch of other fields if you wanted to store their skill level, instrument, school. If we didn't think of a field, there is a catch-all at the bottom. Maybe like I see this used a lot for like maybe t-shirt size if there's a summer camp, food allergies. Maybe people, like if you're dyslexic, maybe it's good to put that in the notes so that the teacher's ready. If you put in their birthday, we can send them a happy birthday email on their birthday. But anyway, besides that, each student has a unique billing relationship with each assigned teacher. So if we go back to our student list here, like Eric Duckett takes lessons with Albus Dumbledore at $30 per lesson. So whenever they're in the calendar together, the program knows to create a $30 charge for Eric dated for the day of the lesson. But you could also do a flat monthly amount, like if this pretend student is with me. This is a fake account if you couldn't figure it out. But if they're with someone at a flat monthly amount, the program knows to just charge Eric $100 a month as long as they're in the calendar at least once. There's an hourly option too. It's not as popular per se, but if maybe you charge $60 an hour, if Mike is teaching Rosa Diaz for 45 minutes, the program knows to charge $45 for 60 minutes, $60. It'll scale in a linear way there. But we're trying to take out as much back-end work as possible. So if you just go to the calendar and schedule in the student, so maybe we're gonna have Mike teach Eric every Wednesday at 2. I could say that the lesson repeats weekly. And when I hit okay, it'll populate my whole calendar and set up the billing based on what it sees. So there's just a disconnect when people are brand new on how it's all connected. A lot happens behind the scenes, but we find once people understand that, then they see the core benefits there and everything clicks. And then a third question, we usually, like when you're getting set up, you got to add your students and tell us what you charge them, and you build out the calendar. The other key part of that is sending out your invoices. So if we're looking at this section here, it just comes up a lot of like, how do I send them their invoices? Like they pay every month the same, like based on how many lessons there are in the calendar. The third thing that comes up a lot is just how do I send it? And you can manually send an invoice by going to invoices, new invoice, and just saying like, I have to charge Uncle Ben for anything in their account from the 1st to the 30th of November. And then if I click create, it'll make me an invoice. But if you send them out automatically, we do have this auto invoicing feature. Not to jump around too much here, but I could just tell the program that this family pays monthly. So I could say starting in December, send a prepaid monthly invoice, maybe send it out 7 days before the 1st. So 7 days before the billing start, and then it's due 7 days later. Then if I save my changes here, the program will just know that on November 24th, send them an invoice for their December charges due to by December 1st. Because once your calendar is in there and we automate the billing process, that's when you're going to find you got a lot of your time back, and you have time to use the other features. So it's really just that general setup of how is it all connected is kind of question 2 and 3, really.
What about the auto charge for credit cards? Where does that go in?
I don't think I have it set up in this fake account, but in your studio settings under online payments, you would either integrate with Stripe or PayPal Pro. That would be a few steps outside of the app, but once it's connected with the payment processor, there would be a button in their family settings. So if I go back to Rosa here and I go to family, there would be a box here where you could add their card or their bank account if you're in the US using Stripe. And then from their perspective, actually, when they log into the student portal, it looks like this. And if we go to, so if they logged in and went to their profile settings, there would be a box here where they could add a card too. And once it's on file, it's just whenever you email the invoice total is charged to it as you email. And the program knows within like a second if it went through, and it'll notify you if it fails, and it'll also notify the family. And if it goes through, then they get the invoice and a receipt, and your payment is automatically recorded.
And I know that you guys have a lot of really helpful videos there, and I think in the question mark part, right? In that little
actually. So the student portal has its own help section too. We don't find that many parents use it. They just reach out to their teacher. But
I was gonna, do you have a video that you can send to parents that clearly explains how they can put their credit card information in their portal?
Not a video, but we do have this article called "How Do I Teach My Families to Use the Student Portal?" And these are PDFs that you can actually just share. We tried to do like an all-encompassing video for the parents, but then we realized that like some people don't use us for the billing. So then to highlight how to add your card on file adds more confusion than it solves. But if you wanted to like tell them how to add a card on file, you could send them this PDF and it outlines those steps. These will be on that resource site too. We send out like around Christmas, we'll do like a recital pack. We do one in the spring as like a template if you wanted to put in, you know, all your students' names, what they're performing, the order, all of that kind of thing. Actually, I've got the Pinterest pulled up here. So we've got like musical, theory worksheets, recital packs, key signatures, all the stuff that you would need as a teacher. We just put them up for free. We've got our student portal cheat sheets, and then we do this social media calendar too. It's basically an idea a day for something to post to a social media platform, just in case you get stuck and you're not sure how to keep engaging people and
I
keep
love
it fresh.
your calendar. And, you know, I remember before I knew what a boomerang was on Instagram, and I saw it on your calendar for the first time. And I was like, what do you mean put a boomerang in my studio? Right? And I'm thinking, like, do I have to order one from Amazon and just put it on the keyboard? Like, what does that mean?
Take a picture. Yeah, we try to keep it a little fresh, because, you know, and it kind of goes with the whole theme of like, you're already busy teaching. You don't necessarily have the bandwidth left in you at the end of the day to think like, geez, like what do I share to Instagram or whatever. So we'd be like, hey, like maybe post like a quote from a favorite student, or like highlight something that a student's done well, or do a boomerang, or ask them a question that they can talk about in the comments. Like it's just stuff like that, but it's just an idea a day. And then we do those quarterly.
Post them every day. Like you organize, you can take one day out of your month and just schedule out all of those posts. That's
true too. There was a question in the comments here. Can students schedule their own lessons at the start of the year? You could do that in the calendar. When you're scheduling an event, just don't pick a student name and it's an open time slot. And then from the student portal, they could go in and see those and register. And then, so the only catch there would be, you'd have to tell us how long that event is. So if you have students that come for 30 minutes or 60, you would have to schedule all the openings for like 30 minutes, and then they'd have to grab 2 back to back kind of. And then there's another question, what do you do for students who prefer to pay with e-transfer? That comes up a lot too, because obviously cash is king too. If you go to families and invoices and just click add transaction, you can just manually add a payment. So you could say that Ann Fallon on November 3rd brought $100. And then if you wanted, you could say that it was cash and email them a receipt. But while you're in the lesson, if someone just showed up with cash and said, hey, here, the home screen is where you see your lessons for the day. So we're teaching Eric at 2 on musicology. If I go to attendance, I can mark him as present. And then below that, I could say that the student paid at the lesson, and I could put in the amount so that when you save attendance, it will send them a receipt for that as well. Beneath that is a place for lesson notes. So this might be handy to have up with musicology, maybe on a second monitor, to just record notes for the student. Anything you leave for the student and the parent see. But there is a spot for just the parent if you had to talk about, like, maybe they showed up without their books, or it's clear they're not practicing, whatever you want to do there. And then there is a space to leave private notes for yourself. So you could hypothetically, a student shows up, mark them as present, they brought you $75, write out how the lesson went, send them any files, and then when you hit save, it'll email the parent, the student, it'll update your attendance, your billing, your online resources. It's all kind of done in one spot. And then actually, we didn't really mention it, but my music staff usually has a 30-day free trial. But if you're a user of Musicology, there is a 60-day free trial. So that way you get 2 months of use with us to get set up for success. And after that, it is $12.95 a month if you're in Canada or the US. We do bill in a couple other currencies, like I think it's $11.95 in euros, $9.95 in pounds. You kind of get the idea, but it'll show you the one for where you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop that link into the chat here.
Good idea. I've got it too, actually.
Can you show us how we add musicology into the...
That's right. I meant to do that. So back to the calendar. There's 2 ways to do it. I think the easiest one, in my music staff, you can edit any emails we send on your behalf from your studio settings. So there's a bunch of reasons why we could send an email for you. But when we send out that event reminder, it's the event reminder template. It kind of looks like this, but you can edit that. So wherever there is the placeholders here, it'll populate with what's relevant to that student. So it'll put their first name, the date, all of that. But location and description are the 2 that we could manipulate to make it a little more seamless. So I'm going to keep that tab open. So when I'm scheduling my event, maybe Mike's going to teach, I don't know, maybe we'll make it Harry Potter theme here. So Albus is going to teach Hermione some advanced potions. For the location, you could just say it's musicology. And then this public field is where the public description of the event will be populated in the student portal. So they could click on a link in this field from the student portal. But whatever you put here, it will show up in their event reminder here. So you could put in join me on musicology, and then put the musicology.ca there. And then to enter the lesson on musicology, they would need their room code. So you could write the room code, and then when they get the email reminder, it'll tell them, I mean, you can take all of this out too if you wanted, but you could say the date, the start time, the end time, the location would say musicology, and then the description in this scenario would say, join me on musicology, give them a link to the backend portal there, and then the room code to join you.
That's perfect.
And it's usually the same for that student for the whole time. So even if Albus was teaching Hermione every week, we could just say right here that this lesson repeats weekly. And then every week they could get that reminder to join the room there.
Yeah,
be a little bit
in
easier.
yellow, right?
Yeah. So that would just be a lot easier for the student. We kind of like one thing that's kind of fun with my music staff is because so much is automated, there aren't many excuses left for the student. So if they say, oh, I couldn't find it, like, well, you had this link in your student portal and it was emailed to you. So like, they have multiple ways too, I get it.
What did it say there, the error message that it's already used at that time?
Yeah, I accidentally just scheduled a lesson for the exact same time.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So there's these so that Eric and Hermione are both at 2. That's just my mistake. It'll check if the room, the teacher, or the student are already in the calendar.
Yeah, that's so smart. Yeah, that's the kind of the same with us with our room codes, where you'll get an error message if the room code is in use.
It's definitely handy. You don't need those hiccups while you're busy on the go.
Yeah, yeah. Does Musicology offer an ongoing meeting like Zoom so I can teach back to back? Yeah, so with Musicology, you have your private rooms and you can teach back to back. You don't have to log out of the entire platform each time. You can just end the call, click on your room list, and click on your next student that's on the list. So it's pretty easy to do.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And you guys can use, I put the My Music staff link there for the special offer of 60 days. And I put the web app for new users. You can use the code web app for 50% off your first paid month of Musicology. And tell your friends too.
Yeah. And I mean, both companies were both easy to reach too. If anyone has any questions after, definitely reach out. We're always happy to help too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we're all here to help. We love our product, and we love helping teachers. And you know, the music industry is unfortunately probably the poorest funded industry out there.
Oh,
yeah. Yet, you know, the first thing that everybody did during the pandemic was learn a musical instrument. And the first thing parents do when they have kids is put them in piano lessons. And yeah, it just goes to show you. So, you know, we're here to kind of serve that. And please feel free to reach out to any of us anytime with any questions at all.
Yeah.
Except for maybe what you should make for dinner.
Yeah, right.
But thank you so much, Mike. This was so much fun. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. And thanks, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will see you again. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
I will end the recording.